And they call it a mine.
This is no mine. It's a tomb.
Hey, what up guys, it's Fish here and welcome back to another epic online battle. Today we have a glorious 2v1 siege battle on the custom map of the Mines of Crack, something along them lines. You can go ahead and find it down below in the description, and I do definitely recommend checking it out because this was a really fun battle to play. I played this on stream, so if you haven't followed me on Twitch yet, make sure to go do that. There will be a link in the description as well as the link to the map. And yeah, it was really fun. We set up a 2v2 siege battle on this map where the Dwarfs have about a 20k disadvantage and the two Orc armies had to leave like 8k over, so it did equal to about 20k. We made the rules that you're only allowed to bring one artillery piece per army for the attackers and a limit on trolls and giants. However, that does not take away with the amount of trolls and giants the enemy brought. We have an Arachnarok Queen, we have 3 giants, we have a set of like 6 trolls maybe a few less than that, and then the rest of the army is just consisting of a ton of black orcs and normal orc biggins and night goblins. It's a pretty hectic army. Grimgor is at the front of it right now leading it, and it's going to be a glorious battle. So what we'll do is we'll run through the map, kind of check out all the nooks and crannies of this map and kind of show you guys what it's all about, and then we'll go and jump straight into the battle. If you want to skip this and just jump straight to the battle, because I still get comments even though I mentioned this in the video, you can just go ahead and click the skip to battle button, which will be in the description. I still get comments of people being like, oh, why are you talking for 10 minutes? I just want to see gameplay. Even though I mentioned 50 seconds into the video that you can go and click the skip to battle button and that will take you to the battle. So if you don't care about the map and you don't care about the army comps, go down and click that button. Though, for those of you who do, let's go ahead and start and look at this map. So, again, this was a really nice, unique idea which this modder did. He kind of made the entrance to the map itself, so you can actually look in from the outside, instead of just having like an underground layer and, you know, with castles and, you know, dwarven fortifications everywhere. He actually made like the entrance to it itself, and this looks really cool, and I think adds a nice little aspect to the map itself, because even when you're fighting inside the map, you can still just look out and kind of, it just adds to the realism of this being an actual mine, and I think it looks like a really nice touch. As well as that, he also made it so, because quite a few of these dwarven maps only have like 1 choke point and that's about it. This modder made sure to add in like, I think 3 choke points on a lot of the positions, so even if 1 choke point is heavily defended, there's still optional routes to move around. This is a great example. We have an awesome looking bridge right here, but this isn't the only way to go ahead and progress in this mine. There's also a pass down this left hand side, which again has a really nice kind of aesthetic feel to it. You've got like a dwarven brewery here, along with some smithies and what looks like to be some like furnaces or some alchemy stuff which is going on right here. This is probably just like a brewery tank. As well as that, there's also a far right position right here which you can move around and outflank the defenders at the bridge. So if, say, the defenders, which I do decide to do, tries to defend the bridge, it's really hard for them to stretch their forces down every single avenue here, which is going to leave gaps for the attackers to take advantage of. So again, I thought this was a really nice looking map, and I think the modder has done a great job at kind of making it more into a battle map. Not just a pretty looking map, but a map which actually works in multiplayer, and I think he definitely has achieved that. Then as we make our way back, we have this really cool looking mine which is going on. By the looks of it, this is like some rune or something maybe to go ahead and protect the mine. I'm not really sure. Maybe it is just a cauldron, but it does look cool. So again, stuff like this just adds life to the settlement. I wouldn't mind seeing like more dwarven houses just scattered around, maybe carved into the mountain itself would look kind of cool. We have this really cool looking dwarven statue which actually gets destroyed during the battle. I didn't realize that was a possibility, but this statue actually does crumble because it gets hit by artillery, which was really cool. So then now we're going to move back. So we have my outer defense right here by the bridge and the other passages around. Then we kind of have the main dwarven defense. Now I'm just going to call this the inner wall, because I think that's the easiest way to describe it throughout the battle. So we have 2 choke points, again, not just 1 choke point. We have 2 positions the dwarfs have to, or the defenders have to hold, which again I think is really cool. But not only that, there's also a passage all the way around here which you can make your way through and come around and kind of come up behind the defenders out there. So if you're struggling to take the choke points here, you can send some forces all the way around the back and hit them in the rear and kind of break their forces that way. So again, there's just so many multiple ways to attack these defensive fortifications, which I think is really cool. As well as that, that, if we make our way up here, there is also another path as well. So if them two paths weren't enough, there's also another one which you can make up. So if you end up losing this right-hand side, the attackers can make their way up this left-hand side, and they can advance. I've actually got some iron breakers here as well, currently defending it. But yeah, you can make your way through them. There's like a nice little choke point right here you can defend. Then finally we have like the final stand, which is exactly where I am moving my soldiers right now, and it's kind of cool just having it, you know, in the shadow of these dwarven, I guess, buildings right here. We also have some nice little, I guess, terrain over here. I don't think you can deploy any troops up here, unfortunately. It'd be cool to maybe get like an artillery piece out here to cover this area, but that's about it. I think I finally also have some artillery. Yeah, I have a nice little like artillery position here overlooking it. And I mean, this map definitely does go ahead and speak to the scale of what I wanted from Warhammer. There's a point which we'll see later on in the video where I'm defending here against a pretty large force, and all you see for literally about a good 2 minutes is just orcs just moving across this bridge constantly, literally for about 2 minutes non-stop. And that was just so awesome to see, because I'm defending, fighting for my life up here, and it just kind of really reminded me of like a Minas Morgul type feel, where Frodo and Sam are just climbing up the mountain, and all you see is just a constant stream of orcs. And that's literally what you see here, and it was just so awesome, and hopefully we'll go ahead and check that out during the battle. So let's go and run through the army comps really quickly. I don't want to go ahead and stick long on here, because you guys already know what most of these units look like. I just want to give you guys a rough idea of what I am bringing and what the enemy are bringing. So over here, guarding kind of my outer defense. So the idea behind these guys right here were like, maybe these guys were defending the entrances and they've fallen back, but they didn't have enough time to go ahead and fall back to the inner defenses. So they decided just to sit here, because obviously the dwarfs are slow and the orcs can kind of be a bit faster than them. So the dwarfs decided just to sit here and hold the line whilst the orcs came closer and closer. So yeah, these guys were obviously like defending the gate or something along them lines. So defending this, I have I think 4 or 5 longbeards along with a runesmith and a set of handgunners as well. So hopefully these handgunners can do damage to the huge amount of giants which the enemy have brought. I also brought a unit of miners with blasting charges as well. Hopefully I'll use them somewhat effectively. Then as we go back, I have another set of longbeards, one on either choke point, one here and one there. I also have the warriors of Dragonfire Pass and a set of handgunners, one on this side and one on the other side. I also have a runesmith right here. I have the Peak Gate Guards, which are an amazing hammerer unit, along with another set of hammerers, one here and one right there. Keep on going back, I have some more thunderers along with 2 slayers, one up here, one down here and one all the way up there. And then I finally have another, oh no, not another, but a set of 3, I don't know, 2 iron breakers up here. And then we also have some artillery. We have a grudge thrower overlooking the bridge. So again, I've got some really nice positions here where I can just hammer the enemy wherever they decide to come, which is really, really good. I also have a set of guns here as well, some cannons, which are again going to be overlooking the enemy advance, and another grudge thrower back here as well. I also have a organ gun, which is going to be supporting kind of like my final stand when the enemy do advance up. I might get a bit of friendly fire with these bad boys, but they do definitely pay for themselves. Is the enemy advancing yet? They're not quite yet. Good, we still have time. I'll just make sure to pause it before we get started. I also have a unit of iron breakers up here guarding this right flank, and you know, the iron breakers are used to fighting in the depths of the mines in really, really close spaces, so that's why they're going to be so good at holding that right hand flank. Then finally I have 2 more hammerers and a set of 3 iron breakers. Again, I really love the lights during this battle. Like, mines would be, you know, the light would be so different in the mines than it would be outside, and I think that again the modder's done a great job. We got blue over there, we got red here, we've got green over on this right hand side. I think he's done a great job of actually kind of representing that, and I think it looks glorious, and hopefully it'll make for some really cool looking battles. Because over here as well, all these guys have like a red tint to them. Yeah, all these guys have like a red tint to them due to the lighting, and I think that just looks really, really cool. So the battle has started. We are going to go ahead and pause it, and we'll run through the enemy army and then obviously get started. So the enemy army has actually brought a ton of these goblins, which are really funny because they're actually called expendable. If you look on the left hand side, it actually calls them, you know, they're poor leadership, shielded, but they're expendable. So they're going to be using these guys pretty effectively just to go ahead and absorb a lot of the enemy missile fire. As well as that, we have a ton of these night goblins. I think we have the 8-peak loonies in here somewhere leading the forces, and they're going to be throwing out the dwarfs on the chains, which obviously we'll see, which look really, really funny. Some more goblins back here. We have a set of 3 giants, which again is going to be super hard to deal with. I do have 2 units of slayers and a bunch of thunderers, but I'm not sure if they're going to be enough. We also have an Arachnarok queen. We have Azag Azag on a wyvern. We obviously saw Grimgor earlier on, and we can see him once again right there. There's a bunch of trolls. We have loads of orc biggins. We also have a ton of black orcs, which is scaring me quite a lot. We have a load of black orcs. We also have 2 sets of crimson killers. And we also have some squigs over here on the left side. We also have a nice little detachment of night goblins over here, which have kind of vanguard deployed over on this left-hand side, because I've set some longbeards to go ahead and guard this back pass. But hopefully we can hold it against a lot of these night goblins. So I think there we go. Let's go ahead and get started in this battle. We'll start the camera, we'll go ahead and slow up the rotation speed, and we'll let this battle begin. So again, something I really love, I know I just mentioned it, but for those of you guys who skipped to the battle, I love the lights of this mine. We'll see more of it when we go a bit further back, as the thunderers open up on the enemy lines, taking out a few goblins, but not many. Oh, I actually took out a ton of goblins. I love the way the lights are just, you know, kind of really just emanating from this mine, because as I mentioned in the intro, like, the mine has a completely different lighting, and this is the first time I've seen the lights of the mine actually really come through, where we have like blue and green and red, and it just makes for a really nice atmospheric battle for sure. And here we go, some of the fanatics coming out. We also see them ripping through the battle line. That is brutal. Look at them go. We also, if we paused it quickly, these are the units I'm talking about. The gobos who are swinging around dwarfs on the end of their chain. That just looks amazing right there. And these goblins are going to be doing one of 2 things. They're going to be breaking away my formation, which is going to be really bad, and they're going to be doing a ton of damage as well. Because the fanatics, when they decide to go ahead and start swinging around, that breaks up the formation. As a dwarf, obviously you want to be really tightly compacted. You don't want to be split up and have gaps in your line. You want to go ahead and be really tight so that the enemy can't break your formation. And that's where the dwarves really thrive. As well as that, we have rock lobbers coming overhead. I think I didn't show it, but the enemy have, I believe, 1 rock lobber, and they also have 1 doom diver catapult as well. And these rock lobbers are going to be starting to smash my stationary troops, which means I have to really get them involved in the battle as soon as possible. We've got my runesmith here charging in. He's going to be popping his oath of rune and Rune of Steel? No, Rune of Oath and Steel, something along them lines. As Azag comes flying in on his wyvern as well, ripping dwarfs left, right, and centre. And the rest of the enemy force is in quick succession behind. So this is kind of a nice advance. The enemy aren't really using a lot of their elite units at the moment. They're kind of just advancing a lot of their weaker, like some orc biggins in here, but mainly just night goblins and goblin spearmen, which obviously are going to be getting wrecked in the battle. We have a shroud being deployed. I can't remember what this is called. Oh, soul blight being deployed, which is going to be great. That's going to be reducing our armor pretty heavily, which is pretty important, as well as that huge, I'm not even sure what this spell is called, but it dropped down and did a ton of damage on the back of our line. So some pretty big spells coming out already straight off the bat, and this is going to be harmful for our lines. We've got the Arachnarok Queen as well as more artillery come flying in back here. It's pretty brutal. It is, yeah, I'm not expecting this line to really hold too well, so I'm kind of just hoping that we can kind of push back the enemy as much as possible here and do as much damage as possible. Especially to say to these like Arachnarok Queens and stuff like that. I really want to try and whittle these guys down with my gunners here, and obviously do as much damage with the blasting charges, miners as possible. But whilst this is happening, I'm slowly being outflanked. I'm not sure if we can see the enemy force yet. Yeah, we can. We can see it right here. You can see that the enemy force is slowly flanking me. So in a second, I decide that I feel like I'm going to get beaten here, and I want to get my runesmith out of this battle as soon as I can, because I feel like, you know, he's not going to stick around, and he still has plenty of like charges of his oaths to pop. So I wanted to get him out of there. However, the enemy is quickly, with these goblins, getting right behind me and then coming up in through the bridge and cutting off my escape route, which is obviously really smart by the enemy to go ahead and do that. I really just stopped any retreat I have from this battle. So all these soldiers are really locked here, and a lot of these soldiers aren't going to, oh my god, someone just gets smashed by the Arachnarok. The satchel charges are going out overhead though to hopefully try and do some damage, but a lot of these dwarfs aren't going to go and like lose their lives in the battle. They're going to rout because they're being overwhelmed by terror. We have the giant, which gives terror. We have the Arachnarok Queen, which gives terror. Along with that, they're going to end up being surrounded because their numbers are going to drop with the trolls there as well. So a lot of these soldiers, and especially the runesmith, are just going to rout from the battlefield. And because I can't get the soldiers out of there because of the men advancing, you can see I'm trying to get my soldiers out of here right now. And then the Arachnarok Queen pops up some spiders, which means I can't run away these soldiers. so I have to stand here and fight. The Thunderers, who I really wanted to get out, are having just to go back into the engagement as more dwarfs get swung on me, and they're going to just come and tear through my line once again. So I'm having to force my gunners just to turn around and just start trying to do as much damage before they do die. So these guys are literally going to be here just shooting at the Arachnarok Queen for as many shots as possible, but then the spiders are going to be coming on and charging on my rear. The Longbeards are going to be moving in to try and support them, but again, the sheer amount of artillery coming in, along with the Arachnarok Queen and the Giants, this bridge fight is definitely lost right now. And I mean, I felt like the enemy didn't really have to spend too many soldiers doing this. It was a folly attempt at defense. The orcs are moving around now. Some goblins are coming here to cut off my retreat back there. As well as that, we have some orc big guns moving along the left pass, or I guess my left pass. And they're charging forward. There's also some squigs here, and I think they're going to be making their way up this hidden path to the left, which is going to be a little bit scary, because if some of these lines do fall, that's going to be really bad for me. If I start, getting overwhelmed in certain positions and don't have the men to go and support that, then it's going to be bad. As well as that, I forgot to mention in the intro as well, this is a pretty massive battle. We have, what, around about over 9,000 troops fighting in this battle. So yeah, it's pretty oh, not 9,000, about 8 and a bit thousand troops fighting in this battle. So it's definitely a pretty massive battle. Hopefully the lag, which we are receiving at the moment, will clean up very, very soon. But again, we have a ton of orcs and the squigs coming. My cannons are going to be trying to hit them as much as possible, along with the grudge throwers, whilst they do advance. But I also need to be very careful with my ammunition, because I don't want to use up all my ammunition on these kind of weaker troops. I want to obviously be saving them for the Arachnarok, the Giants, and the Black Orcs. As well as that, you can actually see the statue has been destroyed now, which I thought was so cool. I didn't even realize this was possible, but I assume it has been hit by some form of artillery, and it has been destroyed. Obviously, there's a floating shield and hammer at the moment. That does disappear at some point in the future, and then we're just left with a destroyed statue. So I just thought that was really cool, like a really nice addition to it. I'm not sure what triggers that, or if it is just like a random event that happens or something, but it does still look really, really cool nonetheless. If we go back to the main fight, we can see that my dwarfs are surrounded with a few thunderers now, miners who are just covered in blood. The trolls are surrounding them, sending them flying, just vomiting on all of my soldiers. The bridge has been lost. Fall back to the inner city. It does even look even cooler now. The dwarfs are holding the hammers, which again I thought was a really nice touch in the map, the way that the models are using these. It does look really, really cool. We've even got Grimgor himself in here, smashing away my routing dwarf. But if we press K, we can see that, yeah, my line has fallen. This runesmith still has so much health left, and it's just annoying I couldn't get him out of here. I definitely should have paid more attention to my flanks, that's for sure. Now the Black Orcs are holding up just out of my artillery range as well, which was really annoying that the enemy were doing that. They are holding out just outside my artillery range. We have a pretty large advance down this left flank. This is a bit preemptive, if I'm honest. Like, the fact that the enemy are charging down this left flank whilst the rest of the forces are fighting on the bridges still was a little bit preemptive, but that's fine with me. The Iron Breakers are more than happy to hold against any enemy that comes their way. And this is just what I'm saying. Like, it's not quite yet, but this stream of orcs continues for the foreseeable future. Sorry, I couldn't speak there for a second. Like, this is just a constant stream, especially whilst we're fighting the squigs, which come charging in a second. And it was just so glorious, especially with the tint of the green minerals, which I guess are reflecting light off onto these Iron Breakers, and just seeing a constant push. Hopefully you guys can see that in the video, and it literally is just a constant stream as the enemy advance further and further forward. And it definitely gave me vibes of Minas Morgul from the Lord of the Rings, just seeing it, because it is just disgusting. Now we have my own artillery shooting out on the enemy, trying to whittle down the squigs, because I knew the squigs would do a lot of damage to my Iron Breakers on the charge, so I wanted to try and whittle them down as much as possible. So I have a pretty nice arc of fire right here on the enemy as the enemy advance, so I'm going to be trying to hit them as much as possible, trying to whittle down the forces. But by the looks of it, the squigs are getting ready to charge in against the Iron Breakers. Boys, get your satchels out and get ready to defend, as we still see the stream continuing down into the main line. Satchels out, boys. That's going to be a great hit, but the squigs are going to be perfect at smashing away these Iron Breakers. The Iron Breakers are not easily destroyed. But the squigs are going to be an annoyance. Definitely I could have done without. Maybe focusing down some artillery there would be good. I also brought up the Peak Gate Guards because I knew that they needed some more support there. I also brought up the White Dwarf, who's actually my legendary lord, and he's going to be helping out this right flank because I'm trying to deploy not a lot of soldiers over there, and I'm going to hope that we go and hold that as best we can. My main line is now getting ready to receive any advancement that is coming. Again, just look, the bridge is just littered with goddamn orcs. It is disgusting. This left flank as well is starting to push, and I decided that I wanted to fall back on this left flank because you know, it was kind of a long breach right here. I wanted to fall back to the smaller breaches, so you can see my dwarfs are in marching column right here, falling back to a favorable position right here, because we wanted to get into like this really tight gap right here where our numbers count for more, and we kind of just hold them in a choke point. The right flank is really the flank that is erupting right now. All my artillery is opening up on the enemy, but really the main engagement right here is up to the Iron Breakers, and the Iron Breakers need to hold the line here. If the Iron Breakers fail and we end up getting pushed back here, this is going to just completely wrap around and destroy the entirety of my forces. And again, just look at that. The Iron Breakers are fighting hard, and the stream is just continuing on. See explosions going on. It just looks amazing having this this epic fight all the way over here, and yet there's still so much going on over here. Just more and more soldiers. It's just endless coming in, but we still have such an epic battle here. I believe the White Dwarf is going to be going in here along with some more satchels being thrown out. So I'm hoping I can just hold this. There's still so many soldiers left to come. As well as that, the fight of the inner walls is soon to happen. I think we got the Ragnarok coming in. I'm going to be pushing up my Slayers to try and deal with this. We also have my line of Thunderers as well. And I believe my line of Thunderers actually managed to rout the... Oh, we didn't rout... Oh, yeah, we did. We managed to rout the Ragnarok Queen, which was great news for us. We just have to deal with some of these soldiers. We also have some goblins charging forward. We are actually shooting a bit of our own troops with them organ guns, which was maybe a bit of a mistake on my part. That is for sure. These organ guns are actually shooting into the side of my Longbeards, which was not good. As you can see, some shots coming in, ripping through my Longbeards. Definitely very bad for me. But I mean, my soldiers are definitely going to be up against it. That is for sure. We have a ton of goblins. And even though these goblins aren't going to be doing a lot of damage, they're really just softening up my attack for when, say, the Crimson Killers come in and the other units of Black Orcs really make their move. So this was a really, really smart move by the enemy to use these guys just to kind of whittle down and pick away at my forces. So when more elite units do turn up, they're going to be able to destroy them. And I mean, again, if we just take another wide shot right here, you can see the statue has been fully destroyed now. We have the Wyvern moving in. We have the Giant advancing forward. Luckily, I do have Slayers there, but the Giant is just going to be ripping through that line of my Thunderers. I need to pull the Thunderers back, and so many units are just getting wrecked right now. The Dwarfs need to hold firm. Again, if we look up here, we can see that there's more fighting going on. And again, the stream of soldiers is still continuing. Like, how many men do the enemy have left? It's just pure disgusting. The Peak Gate Guards are having to advance in now because the Iron Breakers are having a little bit of a trouble. I believe Grumbril is in here somewhere as well. The Iron Breakers are throwing out their satchels, which are going to be doing great damage right there. AoE damage everywhere, which is going to be awesome. But the main fight right now is happening over on this section. We have Giants advancing in. I believe I have my Runesmith moving in. We got a Vortex spell being popped, and this is going to rip through my Hammerers, which was a bit annoying for me to deal with because, again, another spell over here. Just so much magic right now ripping. We need some runes to counteract these magics because at the moment they are just doing tons of damage. The Ragnarok and the Giant is causing me a huge nuisance. I believe we do try and set up some Thunderers here. We have some Thunderers set up right here, and I'm hoping that these Thunderers can deal with the creatures which are coming in, because we also have some Trolls making their way in. I believe we are just focusing firing on the Troll or the Giant. I don't know. I think we're focusing fire on the Ragnarok. Oh, we just took down the Giant. So the Giant's been killed. I think the Slayers had a huge part in that. And now we're going to be focusing down the Ragnarok, which will go down any second now. I think it's about to go down. Maybe a shot or two left. Oh my god, that spell is still going on. Jesus. I think maybe one more volley from these Thunderers and we'll take down the Ragnarok. So we have killed one Giant and one Ragnarok, which is great news. However, we still have these two Giants to deal with, and we have so many Black Orcs as well. There we go, the Ragnarok Queen has been slain. However, Grimgor is in here fighting hard along with his men. Grimgor is in here somewhere, I know that's for sure. The Hammer is having to move in, though, to try and help out. I think the Runesmith is continuing to pop his oaths. On the left-hand side, the line of soldiers is still holding somewhat decently. Obviously, we're fighting a ton of goblins, but the Crimson Killers, the other Black Orcs, are starting to make their way towards the front line. And I mean, it's definitely a hard fight. The Warriors of Dragonfire Pass are definitely doing a great job at holding this. But I mean, our lines are starting to thin. If we look at this the rear of our defenses, we need these soldiers to hold. And the enemy started shooting me to pieces. They have some archers here. So the Dwarfs had to charge forward and try their best to deal with these guys. Them breaking formation is going to cause gaps in their line, which the Orcs can't exploit. And the Night Goblins can use their swiftness to kind of break upon them. As well as that, there's a load of Black Orcs, which these Longbeards just aren't equipped to deal with. So because of that, my soldiers on this rear defense, it only has a matter of time until they break. So because of that, I need to try and kill as many soldiers as possible before I end up getting outflanked. Because again, my soldiers are really starting to dwindle. You can see the Bands power is hugely not in my favor. We have a load of giants. We have so many Black Orcs back here as well, which a large portion of my artillery is focusing down. But there's still so many soldiers, and these giants are just going to be getting into the thick of it and smashing down onto these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, who stand no chance against the giant. And I wouldn't be surprised if both these units decide to rout from the battlefield. I think I am using my Thunderers to try and whittle down their HP. I'm not sure how well that is doing. I guess I must have brought up a unit of Iron Breakers here to try my best to deal with this, because the enemy advance is just relenting right now. The Iron Breakers are going to actually manage to rout the Trolls. Are the Trolls routing? Yeah, we managed to rout the Trolls, and now we're going to have to charge in. Grimgor is in here, though, who's going to be doing loads and loads of damage against the Iron Breakers. You can see with one swing he managed to smash back 4 or 5 units of Iron Breakers. Now the Giants have made it through to my back line. I'm using the organ guns as best I can. I believe I'm also using the cannons I have available to me and a unit of Slayers. But if these Giants get onto my Thunderers, that's going to spell an awful, awful amount of damage against me. I also throw a bunch of my Satchel Charges to try and slow these guys up. I do hit some of my own Thunderers, but I think it was completely worth it for these Slayers to get involved against these Giants. However, the Giants aren't going to give a fuck about the Slayers. They're going to just keep on smashing away at them. So I'm trying to set up a box as best I can right now with my Thunderers. I'm going to be setting a line over here, which you can see shooting at the enemy. I'm also going to be advancing back these Thunderers so that they can shoot down. So the Giants have to make kind of a decision what to do, whether they go for one unit of Thunderers or fight the Slayers or deal with my other unit of Thunderers. Because these guys have been taking some damage. One Giant is almost just defeated, and the other one still has a lot of HP left, but still, you know, is taking a lot of damage. If we look on this right-hand side, we can see we have actually managed to rout the entire enemy force up here, which was great news. However, because we managed to rout that, the enemy are deciding to push a huge portion of their Black Orcs over to this right-hand side. And as you can see, I'm pretty goddamn depleted. I have like half a unit of 8-peak guards. This unit of Iron Breakers is pretty much nothing. They've got like no men left, 19 and no HP. Luckily, my general, who has been fighting here since the beginning of the battle, or since the beginning of this engagement, hasn't lost any HP. So that's great. That's great news for us, that's for sure. But the enemy are, you know, these Black Orcs. I'm not sure how many men I have ready to defend this. I obviously have my reserve corps right here of 3 Iron Breakers and 2 Hammerers. But I mean, the line is starting to look pretty bad for me. The Thunderers are getting a perfect arc onto the Giants, and I think one of them is going to be going down any second now. Yeah, both of them are actually really, really low. Along with the Slayers, they're fighting hard. We're actually doing loads of damage to the enemy advance. But as you can see, the rear has been lost. The special pass back here, the Longbeards have been defeated, and a whole range of Night Goblins along with Black Orcs are coming thick and fast. And you can see my Dwarves are trying to run away. They're fleeing for their lives. And they're just being cut down by a whole range of Savage Orcs, Black Orcs, and Night Goblins. I love the way the Night Goblins run in between the Savage Orcs. I think that's so cool. And that's something I've mentioned quite a few times. I'd love to see units, like a unit of Savage Orcs or a unit of like big uns or something like that, or Black Orcs, which has like a set of like goblins attached to it. So the goblins are just kind of in the ranks to buff up the unit a bit. I think that'd be really, really cool. The Thunderers are finally taking down the last Giant. Yeah, the last Giant has gone down. So during this battle, we've managed to kill 3 Giants and an Arachnarok, which is no easy feat, that is for sure. However, the rear has been lost. I think our lines here, you can see our hammers, which have been deployed, are very starting to dwindle and lose their men. My runesmith is still fighting hard, but again, we are just struggling right here. Luckily, a glimpse of hope right now is we have managed to master out this large portion of goblins and night goblins with a unit. I think the unit of the Crimson Killers stayed, and so did the AP Cleanies, or just this unit of night goblins right here managed to stay. However, we managed to rout all the weaker units, which is great. However, these guys are just going to come back from the battlefield, and I mean, it doesn't really matter too much as more of the dwarven defenses actually get destroyed. And it's really cool. There's loads of like rubble being smashed away. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. The enemy still have such a big advantage right here. As well as that, we see a pretty large assault right here. More of the routing troops being moved into the engagement right here. And the rest of the Iron Breakers are just being cut down by the sheer amount of Savage Orcs and Black Orcs right here. The Squigs are also obviously coming back from routing. But I mean, the main line. This is what scares me right now. Is this section of Black Orcs and also this section of Black Orcs, which are still pushing on my, like, this section of Black Orcs right here. There's just so many left, and I really don't have the manpower to deal with it. If we press K, we can really see that, you know, even though Grimgor's low and Azag is a little bit low, all these soldiers have come back from routing. The enemy advance is pushing pretty heavily round the back. I have some Thunderers and my Organ Gunners still set up, and I'm going to have to push in my last reserves right now. I have 2 Hammers and 3 Iron Breakers still remaining, and you can see the type of defense we are going to be forming. The Night Goblins are chasing down the rest of my Thunderers, which maybe was a huge mistake not getting these guys out. The Organ Guns are almost out of ammunition, so I'm kind of just going to let them. I was kind of hoping that the enemy would go for the Organ Guns instead of my Thunderers, but they did actually manage to hit them and kill them. We are, however, going to be forming up one last defense, which is going to be glorious. And I mean, I don't think I mentioned it in the beginning of the battle, but if you made it this far, I'd recommend staying to the end, because this battle was so goddamn close. I probably should have mentioned that in the beginning. And you see that, look at that point blank shooting with the Organ Guns. I think that was like their last shots right there. The last couple shots coming out. Oh, just ripping through these Night Goblins. It was glorious, glorious. I think we have like one more shot left with these bad boys before they're out of ammunition. And they're making every shot count right now. They really are. They're receiving a ton of missile fire as well. But I mean, this is giving me perfect amounts of time to form up my Iron Breakers. And again, look at the shade that these units are getting from the minerals. It was amazing. And I mean, we're just eviscerating these Night Goblins. We really are. And look at them. Some made it to the front line and the other ones are routing. Now, you could argue this was a bit of a waste using my missiles or using my satchel charges onto just some Night Goblins. Maybe they're not really worth it. I should be using a lot more on these Black Orcs. But again, I really wanted to break this section down so then we could focus more of our forces on these Black Orcs. And I still have plenty of satchel charges left, which we are going to be using onto these Black Orcs now, who are trying to make their way around my flank. Especially with all the missiles coming in as well. I think that looks awesome with the missile arrow fires coming in, getting stuck in the shields, and yet they're just holding them up, throwing the satchel charges. And that's definitely going to be doing plenty of damage to the enemy line. We're going to be throwing our satchels, our last set of satchels, onto the enemy line, and then we're going to be getting ready to receive a Black Orc charge. I mean, this Black Orc charge is going to be extremely hard to deal with. The enemy are still extremely strong. If we press K, we can see it again. The balance of power is gone away from my favor. The enemy is just sheerly advancing forward. However, I still have Iron Breakers left. You see still more explosions coming up. We have hammers still remaining. Like, I still have a pretty hefty force. It's just whether this right-hand side can hold. We have some more of these Iron Breakers here holding the sides, getting some massive satchels right now. If it wasn't for the satchels, I think I would have already lost this battle, if I'm honest. But there is still so many orcs left to kill. We may be hitting a few of our own our own Peak Gate guards, but I want to try and use as many, like pretty much all these satchels that I can use, because I know that they do so much damage. So even if we're hitting a bit of friendly fire, I think we're doing plenty more damage to the enemy than we are to our own forces here. And as we keep on moving forward, we can definitely see that the enemy is taking casualties here. We are finding some pretty big hits. And I mean, just look at the pile of bodies laying on the ground. Squig, Goblin, and Orc. It all doesn't matter to a Dwarf. The Dowie will just cut them down. But there is just an endless stream of Black Orcs right now. But we will not give up this mine easily. The Trolls have made a perfect move around the back of my Iron Breakers. I am going to be pushing some Slayers in to try and deal with these guys. Obviously, the Slayers are the best unit to be using. But again, my numbers are dwindling. That is the issue. I just don't have enough men right now. The Iron Breakers are going to be doing their best to hold the Black Orcs back. I need to try and defeat Grimgor, or just try and kill some generals, which is looking like my only way of victory right now. We've also got a missile fire coming in as well, hitting my Slayers, which is pretty smart by the enemy to use their missiles. The Hammers are going to be going in as well, just to try and rout these Trolls. Maybe the Hammers weren't the best units to go and send to deal with the Trolls, but we need to do something right now. If we can maybe break the Trolls, we can restabilize our formation. I just popped Grombril's Flash Bomb right now, and that's just such a good spell, or it's such a good ability. It reduces speed by 76%, melee defense by 36%, and leadership by 8, which is going to be doing great, because it's going to allow me to rout all these goblins and night goblins who are coming back from routing. Also, these missiles are really pissing me off, so I decided to go ahead and charge forward my Hammerers to try and take care of them. I felt like if I could get my Hammerers onto these Savage Orcs, I could maybe whittle down their forces. We are just getting absolutely smashed right now by the Doom Divers, which are actually really close to us as well. And the Doom Divers are just going to be pouring in and hitting these Hammerers. We just need to continue to charge down the hill at them and try and deal with them. More explosions coming out, and I think we have actually managed to fully rout some of these troll units. As well as that, Grimgor is extremely low right now. Like, he is down to, like, not a lot of health whatsoever. Let's have a look. He's down to under 1,000 HP right now. So if I can kill Grimgor, that's going to be huge for me. And obviously I have my general right there. He's going to be popping Stand Your Ground and Warg, which again, such good abilities. But these Iron Breakers are actually making a gap for Grombril to go and chase him down. Because if you look at this, the explosions actually created a pretty small gap. And he's going to be chasing. He's going to be going after Grimgor. He wants blood right now. The White Dwarf is going to deal with him. If it, he's going to be slain by his hand and his hand only. The Iron Breakers throwing their satchels, which is going to be perfect, because that's going to go ahead and slow Grimgor up, allowing the White Dwarf to get another smack off him, get in front of him. There is no escape for Grimgor. If he tries to run from battle, he will be killed like the coward he is, and the White Dwarf is going to be chasing him and getting the final hit, and then there we go. Grimgor has been destroyed. Azag is the only warrior still remaining right now, and he is on his Wyvern, and he is definitely using that to his advantage. However, my Iron Breakers are being pushed back on this right flank. This is such a close battle. It was really fun to fight. And as you can see right here, the Iron Breakers are being enveloped by the Black Orcs. There's so many left still remaining, and Azag is going to be using that to his advantage. He's going to be charging down and whittling down the numbers, just making it so his Black Orcs can make their way forward. So even though we've killed Grimgor, there is still not much hope, only a fool's hope really left remaining. So we have managed to rout the majority of the forces over here. There are still some soldiers left, like a lot of these Black Orcs and other units are coming back from routing, as you can see. You got all these Night Goblins moving back. Balance power is still hugely not in my favor. I've got 400 soldiers left and the enemy have 1,400. So they still have 1,000 more soldiers than I do. I am trying to whittle down these archers though, because I definitely don't want these missiles to come back and start shooting me. But all my forces are pretty much diverting up to this final stand as the Black Orcs come pouring out right now. We need to try and kind of box these guys in and stop them from using their numbers to get around. The few remaining Iron Breakers up here are just trying to hold off until reinforcements can arrive, but reinforcements have arrived. And again, I love the lighting. The blue lighting just looks great. The Hammerers are ready. I think they're waiting for their brothers to form up. Yeah, they're waiting for their Iron Breaker brothers to form up. And now they're going to be charging in. The Hammerers are going to be doing good damage against these Black Orcs. But again, Black Orcs are just such ferocious warriors. We also have the Crimson Killers here as well. The Iron Breakers, unfortunately, I don't have any satchels left. I would love to have at least one throw of satchels left. We have perfect vision right now onto the side, and these Iron Breakers are going to be charging in any second now. There we go. The Iron Breakers are making their way in, smash into the side of the Crimson Killers. We also have some more Iron Breakers to go ahead and help pad out my line, but I mean, it's not looking good for us. We have Grombril as well, who's making his way back to the engagement. The White Dwarf, after dealing with Grimgor, he wants to go deal with Azag, who is flying around somewhere in the battlefield. I think, yeah, the rest of my men over here as well have managed to push back the enemy advance. So I'm literally bringing back everything back to the engagement. But as you can see, the balance power is still not in my favor. I only have under 400 soldiers left. We've definitely done a good amount of killing. They're pretty much all the kills we managed to do on the enemy lines were just their weaker units. And the rest of the units which I have remaining are just elite soldiers. And you can see Azag has been moving in and out of the engagement, just using his wyvern to his advantage like this. And I can't really deal with it because our white dwarf is only just arriving now. You can see him charging in. He's killed one massive orc and now he wants to kill the other. So he's going to be charging in to try and deal with them. And these black orcs. There's just so many black orcs still remaining. He's going to be charging in to try his best to help out. And I mean, I think one of the only ways I can win this battle is if I get a good kill on Azag. And, you know, what I have to do to make this happen, because you can see, look how few, this is all I have left in the entire world right now. And a few of these guys. I guess I do have an entire set of Iron Breakers left, which is pretty good. But I mean, the enemy, there's just so many black orcs here. But it's going to be really, really difficult for any of our soldiers to hold firm. I mean, I'm bringing over as many men as possible, but it's just a constant stream as well. I'm having to commit so many men to fighting these black orcs, and we have to also obviously worry about Azag, and we also have to worry about all the troops which are coming back from routing and hitting me in the back. It's just a really, really dangerous position. Azag is going to be coming flying in, and this is where I click everything on to kill him. I'm like, shit, if we can get a kill on him, just try and do as much damage as possible, we can maybe rout these black orcs, but that was not to be the case. Azag runs away like the coward he is. And I mean, that kind of worked out in the orc favor as well. Because that came about, it meant that a lot of my dwarfs broke formation because they went off to try and tried to kill Azag, and it just didn't work. I do pop another flash bomb right there, which is again reducing the melee defense and the leadership of all these orcs, which is huge right now. We do have reinforcements turning up as well. If we look at the balance of power, we can still see it's nowhere in my favor. I don't think this battle has been in my favor once during this engagement. I mean, these black orcs are just so goddamn strong, and I think the Crimson Killers are being a huge nuisance right now. As well as that, we have a few, I think we have like 4 or 5 hammerers. How many do we have? We have not 18 hammerers here, holding back these entire advance of these night goblins, as all these routing troops just come running back from the engagement. It's pretty crazy. I want to take this moment as well whilst the units fight, just to take a quick look. There's still 5 minutes left of the battle. It doesn't end anytime soon. You know, we still have an epic engagement. Just take a look at all the damage, like all the dead bodies which are just littering this battlefield right now. It's insane how much death occurred during this engagement. It's just piles on piles. It really, really is. And also, if we go look at the bridge, we can see the amount of dead here. So many dead soldiers. Also, if we look around this right-hand side, we can see so many dead dwarfs and orcs. It was just a really, really intense battle, and I'm super glad I played this. It just turned out so well. We got more dead bodies up here, where we had our nice little stand. I think there's a lot more orc bodies here than there are dwarfs. We killed a lot of enemy soldiers. I mean, the Slayers did a great job at killing them giants. But here we go. This is the last, and obviously not to mention here, but I think this has probably been one of the bloodiest engagements right here. Just one unit of Iron Breakers held back so many enemy forces. Azag is going to continue being an annoyance in my side. The White Dwarf is going to be charging him down. If we can just get a couple hits on him. We got one hit off on him, and he's just going to run away there. But look how low he is right now. If we could just slay him, that'd be so good. We have an Orc Shaman or a Goblin Shaman here still remaining. Hopefully he doesn't have any spells left. But this is going to be the last engagement right here, the last stand. I'm actually going to go ahead and move out a unit of hammers because I need this unit of hammers to stop me from being outflanked. And this is going to be the last engagement. And this is really annoying because I really want to get the dwarf, the white dwarf in this engagement because he can do so much damage to these black orcs. However, I need him here to stop Azag from causing me a huge nuisance. Because Azag can keep on hitting in and jumping out and not really taking too much damage. However, if I have my Legendary Lord there, he will start smashing and doing work on the enemy line. I'll be charging in some hammers here to help out and try and stop this unit of Night Goblins from hitting me. We did get some Fanatics out, but they actually went away pretty quickly, which was nice. Azag's going to go ahead and, you know, really cause me an issue because I'm having to move my White Dwarf back and forth. I want to have him engaged fighting the Black Orcs, but I can't because I need him to kill Azag. So Azag just staying here is just really annoying. You can see him taunting me on top there. However, I'm pretty confident my hammers will be able to win this battle. They do have a few Iron Breakers here as well. Whatever's left of this unit of Iron Breakers, I think there's like 6 or 7 of them, so not a lot. But we are only fighting Night Goblins, so I'm pretty confident that these guys can win the day. And that's exactly what they do. They have to still deal with this goblin shaman who's still alive. But I mean, I'm pretty sure we can do that. I even think, yeah, I even put in the white dwarf as well, because I see Azag not really doing a lot. So I decided to push in the white dwarf here just to try and do as much damage to him as possible. However, whilst I'm doing that, my forces over here are definitely dwindling. I'm pushing in my last unit of reserves. Balance of power has slightly shifted in closer and closer to my favour. I have 200 men left and the enemy have 500. But then 500 troops are just black orcs and a few night goblins here and there. So you can see the amount of dead body. Look at the red on my screen right now. These soldiers have been fighting so hard. I mean, the Crimson Killers are definitely staying true to their name right now. They are covered in blood. And this fight is just so goddamn close. I did manage to win back there, and that because of that I am bringing back more soldiers. I believe, yeah, we even have more men moving as well. More routing troops coming back and just advancing round closer and closer towards me. Balance power is slightly shifted in my favour, but I mean, this could still go any goddamn way, as I can still do loads of damage on that wyvern. And, you know, if there's a good flank that occurs, who knows what would happen. I can definitely lose this battle still. I mean, this battle is still not even in my favour, so anything can happen. And just look there, in the distance, appearing over a ridge, more goddamn night goblins. I think these dwarfs are sick of seeing orcs. The heavy fighting they've had occur and endure during this battle has just been insane. I mean, it's just relenting. This is a green tide to be proud of. The Dowie will not give up easily, though. We've got more goblins come charging in. Azag is ready, and I feel like this is their last push right now. They're waiting for all these troops to get into position before they just charge in and try their best to take everyone down. More stand your ground being called as well. So unfortunately, I didn't have stand your ground. So again, these two legendary lords have been popping all these abilities throughout this entire battle. We've got some missiles coming in, and Azag is going to be charging in and smashing and just ripping through my remaining troops, which is not good. This is not good one bit. This is going to open up all of my flanks now, and I think this is going to go ahead and rout a portion of my force which remains here. As you can see, my soldiers are starting to rout, and this is going to just be it for me. The battle has been lost. The green tide has taken over the mines, but I mean, what a good battle this was. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment on this video. Let me know that you enjoyed it, because this was such a close battle. Probably, yeah, it went down to the wire, which was really good, because I feel like with a lot of these battles, it's so hard to balance them, because this was the first time me playing it. So I'm really happy it turned out so balanced, and there was chances to win. I'm sure if I did some things better during that battle, I could have easily have claimed victory. Obviously, if I didn't put my soldiers up on the bridge, I would have easily have had so many more men to defend with. But that's kind of lame. I want to kind of create a story with these battles, not just have pure strategy of me holding one choke point against the enemy. I think this way it makes for a much better battle, and I believe the white dwarf is going to be the last soldier. You can just about see him right there as he's covered in blood, and there we go, a valiant defeat. I mean, that was an epic battle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, because I know I definitely did. If we look at the kills, we can see that only 45 of my dwarfs remained during that battle. 45 lucky souls managed to get out, and I'm sure they're going to go and become slayers after this battle. The orcs still had a decent amount of soldiers remaining, but if we look at the kills, we can see that Grombridale, however you pronounce his name, almost got 200 kills. The Runesmith's got 40 kills. Longbeard's doing okay. Slayer's doing really well, considering a lot of their kills were on the larger units. The Hammerers, 200 kills, 160 kills. The Ironbreakers all getting pretty much close to 200 kills. Thunderers didn't do great, but again, a lot of their targets were on the bigger units, so I obviously could have used them better. Artillery doing great, and I mean, oh my god, look at the organ guns, almost 700 kills on them bad boys. Holy shit, that was insane. If we look at the enemy forces, we can see Azag, sorry, did I call him Wazag during that battle? Hopefully I didn't. If I did, I apologize. But Azag, getting 138 kills. The Giants doing good, and the Trolls doing pretty decent. Obviously, the Crimson Killers and the rest of the Black Orcs doing amazing. I mean, just look how many Black Orcs we were up against. That was an insane battle. And we look at the other army as well, we can see that Grimgor getting 120 kills, which is nice. And the Giant getting 100. These Trolls getting 146, which was really good. And the Crimson Killers and the Grudge Thrower as well, the Hammer of Gork, doing really well. So overall, an amazing battle. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously, I do videos every single day, ranging from campaigns to online battles on pretty much all the Total Wars, along with a ton of other strategy games. So if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do that. And I guess I'll see you guys next time, and fish out.